Paul, I think O is the letter we want to talk about in today's discussion. And the O of ACON is obey. And it's quite kind of a crucial part of this process. And it comes from the call, that God is going to call us to do something. And I remember kind of when I was at Sunday school, I used to hate hymn number 624 with a great hatedness because it had about 9 million verses and each one had a chorus. But the older I get, the more I appreciate that particular hymn, which was trust and obey. You know, for there's no other way to be happy in Jesus but to trust and obey. So it's a crucial little word. And so how do you resonate with the word obey?
Yeah, there's no other way, is there? I mean, ACON is absolutely pointless if the O is not there. This is the crux one. This is the one where people struggle. This is where there's drop off. And this is also where the excitement is. Because we can talk till we're blue in the face about good stuff that we see elsewhere. But it's in obedience that we grow in faith, that we grow in Christ-likeness, that God does something. I heard a Holocaust survivor say something recently. She said, love is not a feeling. Love is an action. And I think this is where obey lies, that it's out of love for God, not just out of blind obedience, but it's love for God and for his plan that we're willing to follow and trust, no matter how difficult it is or how much I might struggle with the call.
Yeah, I think the key phrase that I picked up from you there was blind obedience, because I don't think it's blind obedience. You know, I think it is this element of trusting and this element of trying to understand the call. Because when you look at this from our Bible stories, you know, when God calls a Moses, God calls an Ananias, God calls an Esther, what you then see is each of those Bible characters then trying to understand the call, being anxious about the call. And so within obey, there is a sense that there's a little bit of trepidation, a little bit of fear, a little bit of worry. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. I think, you know, Jesus says that he only does what he sees the Father doing. And I think we'll always be very limited in our seeing. And perhaps that's where the blindness comes in as well. That our faith is as big or as small as it is. And God will deal with that. But in John 15, verse 16, Jesus says, you know, I chose you and I appointed you so that you may go. So the obedience is also directly linked to God's love for us and his trust in us, because otherwise he wouldn't call us. So in a sense, obedience should be relatively simple because God has prepared the way.
Yeah, and again, that word go, you know, at the end, you know, kind of when we have perhaps struggled with the call, then God calls us to go, because it's best that we're in the center of his will for us. Well, again, like the other letters, so much more we could talk about with obey, but I think that's good enough for today, Paul.